Harris is going on offense this
Yeah.
week. She's
Let's get
going on
into
Fox
that.
News. It sounds like she's going on the Joe Rogan podcast. And what Harris is trying to do is cut into the margins of the demographics and geographies that she's going to lose. What do you think of this strategy? Do you feel like she's prepared to go into
I think
these hostile spaces?
Yes, I do. I think leave no stone unturned. Any voter that she can reach in these last 3 weeks, I know a ton of guys who listen to Joe Rogan and just like he is the validator for them.
Mhm, mhm.
If Joe Rogan says something, they're like, oh, okay. That is powerful. Many times, most people are not going knee deep into Project 2025. They're not going knee deep into the Inflation Reduction Act. They just want to know if the people that they trust are hat tipping a candidate or validating a candidate. And Fox News, she can handle Fox News. They just like they're comically bad. And she being we've talked about this a lot on the podcast about her career as a prosecutor. Like she knows how to form and deliver an argument and debate. So I'm not worried about her on Fox News for a minute. Are you?
I'm not worried. I think it's really important that she speaks to the concerns of the audience
Mm-hmm.
more than tries to appease the
Us.
base.
Yeah.
And we, unfortunately, as a, let's just say, like movement left of center, not just Democrats, but like everyone who identifies on the left side of the political spectrum, have a tendency to demand purity essentially in how people deliver messages about the policies that we want. And so when she goes on Fox News and they press her on the border and on immigration and on inflation and crime, are we going to give her the space to make an argument that could appeal more to,
Moderate.
to the audience that's going to see her on that platform? I'm not saying she should change her viewpoint or her stance on the issues, but if we want to build a coalition that can win, I think that it's important to be expansive in how we talk about our position on those issues.
I have some pockets of the internet that should hear that, Brian.
I know. Yeah, same. At me. Send this to your friend. I think that it'll be interesting to see how Harris tries to thread that needle, right? Because I think that if she goes on Joe Rogan and makes the entire thing about reproductive rights, we're not actually going to in the
Right.
same way that she would make that case on Call Her Daddy,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're not going to resonate with the people that she needs to reach the most.
Let's see.
And Trump is in conversations to do an appearance on Rogan as well. So this could be the 60 Minutes that never happened, where we could have back
Right.
to back Harris and Trump.
Who would have thought? The former host of Fear Factor, where people were
I
eating
know.
eyeballs.
No, you tell us what it tastes like.
Can't believe I'm doing this. This is so long.
Go for it.
I think a lot of people don't know that. But like millennials, you need, if you are like in a liberal bubble online, you might not actually know that Joe Rogan is the guy who hosted Fear Factor. I will say that I'm not a Joe Rogan listener. Shocker.
No.
The clips that I see go viral, he has an almost Trumpian stream of consciousness where
Yeah.
he does weave together a lot of unrelated topics into the same conversation and a
Weaving.
and a lot of weaving and a lot of conspiratorial thinking from the non-representative sample of clips I've seen go viral online. And
Well,
that is
he verbalizes exactly the conspiratorial. There's no like inner monologue. He says it all, no
right.
matter if it's harmful or not.
And I feel like that lends itself to a great platform for Trump
Yeah.
because like we're in like upside down world, nothing's being questioned in real time, and there's too much. You're drinking from a fire hose trying to individually address each problematic statement or assertion with
Yeah.
facts, the same way that it's really hard to debate or have an even remotely realistic conversation with Donald Trump. I do think that there's something similar about Rogan where it all just sort of like flies at you too fast. And so that will be one of my concerns, or something that I'll be watching for in a Harris versus Trump appearance on Rogan, is like, do Trump and him just
Vibe.
drama dump over, like
Yeah.
conspiracy dump over all of us about all the things that we know not to be true around inflation, crime, immigration, white supremacy, and like related conspiracy theories and COVID vaccines, and like, is it literally just going to become like crazy nonsense? And will Harris's appearance be bogged down in her trying to be the adult in the room? Because it's really hard to do that when the other person's not really that interested in
talking about facts.
talking about facts.
I guess only time will tell, and then it's incumbent on the campaign and others to immediately fact check a Trump Rogan interview and just use it as an opportunity to just delegitimize as much as we can. But once the damage is done, it's done.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, is in this decentralized media ecosystem that we inhabit, you don't really have the opportunity to reach most of the people who will hear it. Joe Rogan's podcast is the most popular podcast in the country. And no matter how much money the Harris campaign puts behind ads, we actually won't substantively reach a majority of the people who listen to it. And so it creates this really wild power structure for these podcast hosts that historically only massive institutions like the New York Times or CNN or something have had, with entire newsrooms and accountability structures and all these things, where it's just like, oh, I'm just a guy. I'm a guy who has a production staff, right? But ultimate creative control and accountable to no one with as much influence as an entire media network. It's wild.
How many people do you think, I have the number right here. How many people do you think listen to Joe Rogan weekly?
I have heard it before, so I'm not completely guessing blind, but I'm trying to remember. I think that it's in like the 12 to 14 million range.
14.5.
Wow. Okay, nailed that.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah. Like Rush Limbaugh, who? Like Joe Rogan is like, ooh, 14.5 million. That is a lot of people. So let's see what happens.